Hello, everyone, and welcome to my General Hospital Gossip. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. September 15th recap. Jason finds Britt crying. Willow's shooter motive. General Hospital, GH recap for Monday, September 15th, reveals that a possible shooter motive for Willow Tate, Caitlin McMullen, was considered while S. Vaughn, Bryce Durfee, got a promotion. Jason Morgan, Steve Burton, also found a crying Britt Westbourne, Kelly Thibault, so here's how Monday's action-packed episode played out. In Australia, Jack Brennan, Chris McKenna, promoted Vaughn to Colette Moreau's, Mercedes Lopez Renard, position since he needed a second-in-command ASAP who knew all about Port Charles. Brennan wasn't happy about Vaughn and Jocelyn Jacks, Eden McCoy, sneaking off to this bungalow for a romance that was against the rules. Even so, Brennan needed Vaughn as his right-hand man and wanted Jocelyn ready for her next mission at PCU. Although Brennan assumed Jason had told Carly Spencer, Laura Wright, about Jocelyn's WSB status by now, Jocelyn didn't think Jason would say anything. Talk turned to Britt and her link to Professor Henry, Hank, Dalton, Daniel Goddard, so Brennan wanted to force Britt to cooperate with their investigation. After Brennan announced he was heading back to PC, he gave Vaughn and Jocelyn 24 more hours together at the bungalow, though he emphasized this could never happen again. At GH, Drew Kane, Cameron Matheson, summoned Martin Gray, Michael E. Knight, and made a phone call to take care of Stella Henry's, Vernee Watson, legal problems as well as get her reinstated at the hospital. That was enough to get Martin on board with helping Drew, who needed him to file an injunction and keep the PCPD from investigating his safe. Drew explained the blackmail situation with Portia Robinson, Brooke Kerr, and wanted to make sure that documents stayed out of the cops' hands. In Anna Devane's, Finola Hughes' office, Harrison Chase, Josh Swickard, talked to her about evidence that had been found in Drew's safe. ADA Justine Turner, Nazneen contractor, joined the conversation and learned there was proof of a Swiss bank wire transfer to Judge Eva Heron, Tessa Aubergenois. Justine was skeptical about this holding up and didn't understand why Drew would pay for Michael Corinthos, Rory Gibson, win. Chase acted like it was all about manipulating Willow and kept trashing Drew, so Anna had to settle him down. ADA Turner eventually got news on Martin filing for the injunction, which could make what the cops found inadmissible. Since Drew didn't about this wire transfer proof being found yet, Justine decided to pay Drew a visit and see what info she could get out of him. In Drew's hospital room, ADA Turner informed him that filing the injunction came too late since the safe had already been searched. Justine confronted Drew about the wire transfer evidence that pointed to Judge Heron's bribe, so he looked surprised. Back with Anna, she suggested to Chase that maybe Willow already knew about Drew's bribe to Judge Heron, which would have given her a motive to pull the trigger. Anna made it clear that Chase had to keep the wire transfer proof under wraps, so Sonny Corinthos, Maurice Bernard, and Bricks, Stephen A. Smith, Drew's setup was definitely making a mess of things. At Nina Reeves, Cynthia Watrose place, Liesl Albrecht, Kathleen Gotti, ranted about Britt Westbourne, Kelly Thibault, being just like Caesar Faison, Anders Hove, but Britt insisted she was just like Liesl instead. Although Albrecht thought it was monstrous for Britt to let her own mother believe she died, Britt argued that she was the monster Liesl raised her to be. Albrecht assumed Britt only came back because she was broke and warned Nina not to give Britt the loan she was asking for. Nina wanted to help Britt and pushed Liesl to admit she still loved her daughter once Britt was gone. Albrecht confessed she would always love Britt, but she angrily declared that she'd never forgive her. On the pier, the launch was delayed, which gave Marco Rios, Adrian Anchondo, a chance to confront Jen Sidwell, Carlo Rota, and ask if he killed Judge Heron. Sidwell fired back that Marco did it instead when he told Drew about the bribe. However, Sidwell ultimately acknowledged that there were other factors involved, but the point was that Judge Heron was a wild card who needed to be silenced. What's done was done, so Sidwell felt that the matter was settled and warned Marco not to betray him again. Marco also told Sidwell about being called to represent Michael, who had a weak alibi that probably wouldn't hold up under scrutiny. In Sonny's office, Jason offered updates on finding Britt alive and spilled some of the Five Poppies resort drama, though he obviously didn't mention Jocelyn's part in all that. Carly realized Sonny and Brick knew more than her, so she wasn't pleased about being left in the dark. The discussion shifted to Drew's shooting and whether Michael had an alibi before Carly pointed out that Brennan vouched for her. Despite Carly's annoyance over Jason keeping secrets about Britt, she eventually embraced him and admitted she was glad about his homecoming. Sunny eventually told Jason about Danny Morgan's, Asher and Tonazan, involvement in finding Judge Heron's body and shared his suspicions about Sidwell ordering her demise. Back on the pier, Britt flashed back to a sweeter moment of the past when Liesl was proud of her. It left Britt realizing she was better off playing dead. Jason showed up and could see that Britt had been crying, so she confessed that coming back was a mistake. General Hospital spoilers say Jason will do his best to give Britt the comfort and guidance she needs, so stay tuned. CDL will have other great General Hospital spoilers, updates and news to check out, so make us your one-stop GH
Today's
source. General Hospital recap, the aftermath of a fake death and a shocking shooter motive. Port Charles. The ground shook beneath Port Charles on Monday, September 15th, as the long-anticipated fallout from Britt Westbourne's shocking return slammed into every major storyline. From a brutal mother-daughter showdown to the jaw-dropping reveal of a new suspect in Drew Cain's shooting, this episode was a masterclass in emotional devastation and suspense. Buckle up, because we're breaking down the shocking events that have fans reeling. Liesl's fury and Britt's breakdown. I am the monster you raised me to be. The most explosive moment of the day, hands down, was the tense, gut-wrenching confrontation between Liesl Albrecht and her daughter, Britt Westbourne. Still reeling from the revelation that Britt faked her death to escape her Huntington's disease diagnosis, Liesl was a woman possessed by grief and rage. The episode opened with the two women in a brutal verbal sparring match, with Liesl unleashing a fury that has been simmering since she thought she lost her daughter forever. Liesl, a woman who had spent months mourning and grieving for a child she believed was a hero, slapped Britt across the face on Friday. Today, the emotional wounds were even deeper. Liesl accused Britt of cowardice, of abandoning her, and of spitting on the memory of her brother, Nathan, who truly did die a hero's death. But Britt, in a rare display of raw vulnerability, fought back with words that cut even deeper than Liesl's. Britt's defense was not a plea for forgiveness, but a blistering indictment of her own upbringing. She recounted a childhood spent trying to please a mother who was never satisfied, a woman so desperate for Faison's attention that she had no time or care for her own daughter. With tears streaming down her face, Britt delivered the line that will be replayed in General Hospital history for years to come. I am the monster you raised me to be. She confessed that she faked her death not to hurt her mother, but because she couldn't bear to watch Liesl's sadness about her diagnosis any longer. The WSB's involvement and subsequent blocking of her funds, she claimed, was why she was forced to return. The confrontation culminated in Liesl's coldest moment yet. Standing alongside Nina, who was desperately trying to mediate, Liesl told her daughter that as far as she was concerned, both of her children were now dead. It was a line that shattered Britt, who turned and left, leaving a devastated Liesl to confess to Nina that she would always love Britta, but could never, ever forgive her. Jason finds Britt crying, a moment of raw connection. After the soul-crushing showdown with her mother, a broken Britt wandered down to Pier 54, a place in Port Charles synonymous with loss and solitary reflection. It was there that Jason Morgan, the man she once loved and the person who just brought her back to town, found her. The tough, stoic mob enforcer who rarely shows emotion, saw Britt at her most vulnerable. This quiet, powerful scene was a masterclass in subtle acting. Jason didn't need words. He saw the tears on her face and the defeat in her posture. He had been through hell with her, saving her from the Five Poppies resort and bringing her back to her family. But he couldn't have predicted the brutal reception she would receive. Britt's tearful confession to Jason wasn't about the WSB or her failed research, it was about the profound heartbreak of being rejected by the one person she truly wanted to be reunited with. Jason, in a rare act of empathy, simply stood by her, a silent, comforting presence in the face of her overwhelming grief. This moment underscored a profound truth. While Liesl may have rejected her, Britt is not alone. And the seeds for a renewed JNB romance were firmly planted. Willow's shooter motive, the ticking bomb revealed. While the Westbourne family drama was unfolding, the investigation into Drew Cain's shooting took a shocking and dangerous turn. Detective Harrison Chase, now an official member of the Port Charles Police Department, was reviewing the evidence with Anna Devane. They found a $1 million wire transfer receipt from a Swiss account to the now-deceased Judge Heron. This planted evidence, courtesy of Brick, seemed to implicate Drew in the bribery and murder of the judge. But the real jaw-dropper came when Chase and Anna were discussing who could have shot Drew. Anna, ever the brilliant detective, made a chilling observation. While Michael Corinthos is the prime suspect, thanks to Drew's lies, a new possibility emerged: Willow Tate. Anna reminded Chase that Willow had been furious with Drew just days before the shooting. The motive, as Anna laid it out, was chillingly simple and all-consuming: the children. Willow had been fighting Drew tooth and nail to keep her kids, and Drew's manipulative actions, including trying to gain custody, had put her on the verge of losing them forever. Drew's survival, and his subsequent decision to frame Michael for the shooting, has changed the game. The shocking part: Willow is now strangely aligned with Drew. Chase points out that Willow has no alibi, was missing from her hospital shift, and returned soaking wet from the rain on the night of the shooting. Anna's final chilling warning to Chase was clear: it would give Willow a motive to shoot Drew. The episode ended with the terrifying thought that Willow, a character long seen as a victim, could have orchestrated a diabolical plot to get rid of both Drew and Michael, securing her children once and for all. Is Willow truly capable of this? Or is she just an easy scapegoat in a much larger, more dangerous game? Carly's fury. The storm is coming. Finally, a quick but important moment that sets the stage for a dramatic week ahead. Carly Corinthos Spencer. Unaware of the details of Britt's faked death or Jason's involvement in bringing her back, she was stunned when Jason barreled into Sonny's office. When Sonny asked Jason if he'd found Britt, Carly's expression was a mixture of shock and anger. She was hurt that her best friend had gone on a dangerous mission without telling her, and that he was keeping secrets. Jason's mission to save Jocelyn from the WSB, a secret he promised not to reveal, is the ticking bomb that will soon explode in Carly's face. Her emotional confrontation with Jason is just a few episodes away, and it will likely be a firestorm. Final thoughts. Monday's General Hospital was a masterclass in high-stakes drama. The Liesl/Britt showdown was a long-awaited and emotionally devastating scene that will define their relationship for years to come. The unexpected twist in the Drew shooter investigation, pointing a finger at Willow, has completely changed the landscape of the mystery. The stage is set for a week of explosive confrontations, revelations, and the slow, painful healing process for Britt. With Jason by her side and Carly's fury on the horizon, the drama in Port Charles has never been more shocking. Hospital spoilers. Tuesday, September 16th. Nina rages at Willow. Jason's plan for Britt. Molly searches for Rick. General Hospital, GH spoilers for Tuesday, September 16th, reveal that Nina Reeves, Cynthia Watrose, will rage at Willow Tate, Caitlin McMullen, while Jason Morgan, Steve Burton, has a plan for Britt Westbourne, Kelly Thibault. Molly Lansing Davis, Kristen Vaganos, will also search for Rick Lansing, Rick Hurst, so here's what viewers can expect. For starters, Lulu Spencer, Alexa Havens-Bruning, will spread the news that Britt Westbourne, Kelly Thibault, is alive and tell Brooke Lynn Quartermaine, Amanda Seton, that she doesn't know what this is going to mean for any of them. While Brooke Lynn and Lulu discuss Britt's return, Jason will give Britt the support she needs. Britt thinks it was a mistake coming back to Port Charles and is realizing perhaps she was better off dead, but Jason will have a plan to help her get her life back on track. Jason might offer to make sure Britt has a place to stay and some money to float her until she can get back on her feet. Since Jason won't take no for an answer, Britt may accept and grow closer to him out of gratitude. Over with Ava Jerome, Maura West, she'll assure Christina Corinthos Davis, Kate Monsey, that after Elizabeth Baldwin, Rebecca Herbst, talks to Willow, Liz will want nothing to do with Rick. Ava will feel like her cover-up scheme is going to work out beautifully, but Christina may not be as certain. Molly could be the real problem here since she's going to have questions about Rick's digital detox and why he suddenly decided to leave town out of the blue. Once Molly meets up with Elizabeth on Tuesday's show, she'll ask if Liz has heard from her dad. Molly will search for Rick as she asks questions and most likely tries to figure out where this strange retreat is even happening. Of course, GH fans know Rick is actually a basement hostage thanks to Alexis Davis, Nancy Lee Grahn, Ava, and Christina. Rick will remain locked up for a while, so Molly won't get the answers she's seeking just yet. In the meantime, Molly will use Liz as a confidant, so there could be some talk about her feelings for Cody Bell, Josh Kelly, who'll also get a pep talk from Christina in Tuesday's episode. Next, Lucas Jones Van Hansis will confide in Ava, so that may bring a conversation about Britt and the possibility that her return will bring Brad Cooper, Perry Shen, back into the picture. As for Emma Scorpio Drake, Braden Bruner, and Giovanni Gio Palmieri, Giovanni Mazza, they'll get unsettling updates. This may have something to do with the shipment that Professor Henry, Hank, Dalton, Daniel Goddard, is set to receive. It looks like an accident is coming up involving that shipment at some point this week, so that should lead to some Nathan West, Ryan Pavey, drama soon. Until then, let's talk about Nina since she'll lash out at Willow in a big way. Willow will act like she's calling the shots now, but Nina will shout that the only one calling the shots is Drew Kane, Cameron Matheson. General Hospital spoilers say Nina will push Willow to open her eyes and see that she's still letting Drew manipulate her behavior, so stay tuned. CDL's where you want to be for sizzling General Hospital spoilers, updates and news, so make us your favorite GA news on General Hospital. Nina rages at Willow, Jason's plan for Britt, and Molly searches for Rick. The fictional world of Port Charles is reeling today, Tuesday, September 16th, as tensions boil over, secrets unravel, and the search for a missing person intensifies. The latest episode of General Hospital delivers a series of explosive confrontations and dramatic revelations that will leave viewers on the edge of their seats. From a mother's fury to a mobster's master plan, and a daughter's desperate search, this is a day that will forever change the lives of Port Charles's most prominent residents. Nina's rage erupts, a mother's fury at Willow. The fragile truce between Nina Reeves and her daughter, Willow Tate, shatters in a spectacular display of emotion. For weeks, Nina has attempted to give Willow space, respecting her daughter's desire to live her own life. However, this week's events have pushed Nina to her breaking point. The central catalyst for her rage? Willow's decision to once again place her trust, and the fate of her children's custody, in the hands of Drew Kane. Nina has watched with growing alarm as Willow seemingly falls back under Drew's spell, allowing him to dictate her every move in the ongoing custody battle. For Nina, this is a horrifying replay of past mistakes. She knows firsthand the devastating consequences of Drew's manipulation, having witnessed how his plans previously led to Willow losing custody of her children. Seeing Willow repeat this same pattern is a nightmare for Nina, who feels helpless to intervene. In a scene that promises to be a ratings juggernaut, Nina confronts Willow, her voice dripping with desperation and fury. She accuses Willow of being a dingbat and a puppet, blindly following Drew's commands. Willow, for her part, attempts to defend herself, asserting that she is now in charge of her own life and doesn't need Nina's help or advice. But Nina's retort is a cutting blow. The only one calling the shots is Drew. This confrontation is more than a simple argument, it's a devastating clash of wills and perspectives. Nina believes she is protecting her daughter from a man she sees as a cunning manipulator. Willow, on the other hand, believes she is asserting her independence and fighting for her family on her own terms. The raw emotion on display will resonate with viewers who have followed this complex mother-daughter dynamic for years. The question now is whether this explosive argument will sever their fragile relationship for good, or if it will be the shocking wake-up call that Willow desperately needs. The fallout from this scene will undoubtedly ripple through Port Charles for weeks to come, affecting not only Nina and Willow but also Michael and Drew, who are caught in the crossfire. Jason's master plan for Britt, a chance at redemption. In another shocking development, Jason Morgan takes a bold and unexpected step to win back the trust and affection of Britt Westbourne. The recent revelation that Britt is alive has sent shockwaves through Port Charles, and her reunion with her mother, Liesl Albrecht, was nothing short of a disaster. Liesl, furious that Britt faked her death and allowed her to grieve for years, slapped her daughter and disowned her. With her family turning against her and her career in limbo, Britt is more vulnerable than she has ever been. Enter Jason Morgan. Having been a key player in Britt's supposed death and subsequent rescue, Jason feels a deep sense of responsibility for her well-being. He has already expressed his regrets about how he treated her in the past, admitting that he pushed her aside for Carly. Now, he's determined to make things right. Jason seeks out Britt, who is still reeling from the devastating rejection by her mother. In a scene that is both tender and tense, Britt tells Jason about her disastrous reunion with Liesel, which has left her with no place to stay. Jason, never one to back down, makes a move that will stun viewers. He refuses to take no for an answer, and it's heavily implied that he offers her a place to stay with him. This is a dramatic escalation of their relationship, signaling that Jason is serious about winning Britt's trust and possibly, her heart. He knows that his actions speak louder than his words, and he's willing to do whatever it takes to convince her to give him a second chance. This is a risky move for Jason, especially given his complicated and codependent history with Carly Corinthos. Fans have long speculated about whether Jason can ever truly set boundaries with Carly, and this new development with Britt will test that dynamic like never before. If Jason is to have any chance at a future with Britt, he will have to put his relationship with Carly on the back burner. This will undoubtedly lead to more conflict and drama, especially as Carly is already expressing her hurt over Jason pushing her aside. The stage is set for a dramatic love triangle, and viewers will be on the edge of their seats to see if Jason can successfully navigate these treacherous waters and finally find a love that is truly his own. Search for Rick, a daughter's plea. While the drama unfolds around Nina, Willow, Jason, and Britt, a quieter, yet equally compelling, storyline takes center stage as Molly Lansing Davis embarks on a desperate search for her missing father, Rick Lansing. For a while, Rick's absence has been chalked up to a digital detox email, a flimsy excuse that no one, least of all Molly, truly believes. Now, with a mounting sense of unease, Molly realizes that her father is truly missing and decides to take matters into her own hands. Recognizing that she can't solve this mystery alone, Molly confides in Elizabeth Weber, who is also a friend to Rick. Molly asks Elizabeth if she has heard from her father, and Liz confirms the bizarre, digital detox email. The two women realize that something is not right, and their shared concern for Rick will likely lead to an impromptu investigation. Molly's search is not only a quest for the truth, but a deeply personal one. She has a complicated relationship with her father, but the bond of family is strong. As a lawyer, Molly has access to resources and a keen mind for solving puzzles, which will be invaluable in this search. Her journey will intertwine with other storylines as she uncovers clues about Rick's disappearance, potentially leading her to a shocking discovery that could implicate some of Port Charles's most powerful figures. Meanwhile, other players are also involved in the Rick Lansing saga. Ava Jerome and Christina Corinthos Davis are already hatching a plan to get Willow to fire Rick as her lawyer, unaware of his actual fate. Their scheming adds another layer of intrigue and complexity to the mystery. Molly's search for her father will not only be a test of her resolve, but also a journey into the darker underbelly of Port Charles, where secrets are buried deep and no one can be trusted. The aftermath and what's to come. Today's episode of General Hospital sets the stage for an explosive week of drama. The confrontations between Nina and Willow, the burgeoning romance between Jason and Britt, and Molly's desperate search for her father are just the beginning. Other storylines are also gaining momentum. Drew's manipulation. From his hospital bed, Drew continues to scheme, manipulating Martin Gray to keep incriminating evidence away from the police. His actions reveal a darker, more vengeful side of his personality that could have dire consequences. A shocking death. The show is also preparing viewers for a tragic and heartbreaking storyline as the health of beloved character Monica Quartermaine deteriorates. Her death and funeral are set to be a major event in the coming weeks, and Jason is slated to deliver the eulogy, adding an extra layer of emotion to the already somber occasion. New faces and old secrets. The introduction of Erica Slezak's new character, rumored to be Monica's long-lost sister, promises to shake up the Quartermaine family and the battle for the mansion. Today's episode of General Hospital is a masterclass in high-stakes drama and character development. It serves as a powerful reminder of why this soap opera has captivated audiences for decades, delivering shocking twists and emotional storytelling that leave viewers clamoring for more. As the dust settles on today's events, the people of Port Charles will have to brace themselves for the storm that is still to come.